You're listening to the Mobcast Network.
It's Mando Monday, and that was
It's
a wonderful.
just another...
Oh, no, okay. Again, we're gonna record it. We make a plan, and y'all forget the plan.
No, we don't forget. It's that face I look forward to that you just made.
This is angry producer face.
Yes.
The furrowed brow of a producer is the best.
That
in the world.
is my Mon Calamari flaw. That right there is my flaw.
All this stays in the show because I don't want to edit this. All stays in.
Good.
It's Mando Monday.
I'm not saying anything.
You shouldn't. I'm your Native American pop culture spirit guide, Scotty, and I'm joined by our very own Weird Al and Jedi Master.
JD, hello.
And the men who puts men into Mandos,
Hey.
something.
Mendelsohn.
Co-host.
My Yoda has a first name, and it's G-R-G-R-G. Damn it.
It's 5 letters.
My Yoda has a first name. It's G-O-G-R-U.
No, it isn't.
That's not how you spell Goku?
G-R-U. It's G-R-O-G-U.
Go-Goo? I thought it was Go-Gru.
Grogu.
Oh, whatever. Stupid name. I hate it. I hate that name. I absolutely hate it because you can't even make a freaking Oscar Mayer reference now. I'm done.
But you know what you can't call him?
Spell it right.
But you know what you can call him? Grogurt.
Grogurt? Oh my God. I didn't even think about it. That's brilliant.
So if there's ever a real Spaceballs 2, they really need to have a Grogurt.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant.
So, Grogurt. So this week's episode is The Tragedy, which this is the first episode in a couple of weeks we didn't know what was happening, right? The last 2 weeks,
Although,
we knew Ahsoka was coming, and the week before that, we knew what's his face was directing.
Yep. Carl Weathers.
Carl Weathers was directing, so we were like, they'll be in it. And then, so I don't know about you guys, but I'm watching it at like 2 a.m. because I'm dumb, and the first thing I see is The Tragedy, and my heart just fell into my stomach.
yeah.
It's just like, oh. So
I figured from a writing standpoint, we were due for a turn. We have not had a lot of negative impacts yet, and so I was kind of waiting for that sort of. We've had lots of little missteps, but we haven't had like a major story arc gone negative.
And since this is the whole, I don't want to say, but like the whole season is season 2, which the second of the trilogies have always been the not good for the good guys part of the trilogies. So
True.
I know we're not
I'll disagree.
banking on this only being 3 seasons, but right now, historically speaking in Star Wars universe, this is going to be a not good season for the good guys.
I think that's true for Empire Strikes Back. Attack of the Clones it's kind of good for the good guys because they get clones, and there's not a lot of bad things that happen in Attack of the Clones. And then let's look at
if you're a Jango Fett fan, it is. He loses his damn head.
Yeah, but he's a bad guy, so that doesn't count.
So has been Boba Fett forever, and now he's redeemed. Separate take.
And then you got the movie that we shall not mention from the sequel trilogy that we won't talk about. It's not very. It doesn't have that. Like it's sort of sad because what's his nuts dies, and they find some books and like it because it's a car chase that goes really really bad. So it's like I can't feel guilty about that.
But if you look at the tone, like the end of the movie by the director who now shall not Voldemort, the director Voldemort.
Yes.
Big O RJ.
I mean, yeah, the end has the death of Luke, but it literally has 7 people on the Falcon are the only thing left of the Resistance that we know of.
But I mean,
there's no hope, which everything has
the
been
attempt,
built upon
but
since
the
1977.
attempt was to make it hopeless, and it failed.
Okay, but here's the thing.
Regardless of
that's important because at the end of Empire Strikes Back, Luke's lost a hand. Han's frozen in carbonite. All is lost. All is lost for the core group of our heroes, not for the rebellion as a whole, because they lost Hoth, but they seem like they're going to be okay from that. Because from what we witnessed from Hoth, it's like, oh, we'll just go to the rendezvous, we'll figure it out. No one seems like they're desperate, right? But it's hopeless on the Falcon on their way back. And so, like, the whole escape, everyone's kind of down because, they're also trying to escape from the Empire. But it's the whole tone is that the other two movies, I don't know about you, but I just don't care enough to like. But
well, no. I think after listening to the conversation, I'm throwing an outside opinion there,
right,
to a degree. I actually think we're both right, but I think this. I'm not being a mediator. I think truly this is what you just said brought it up. The difference was we actually care about the characters in Empire, right?
Exactly.
We're not worried about the rebellion. And Last Jedi.
Did you say it?
Hold on, JD. Yeah, I did, because it's relevant. But in this episode, we're also very so this is where I can see a parallel. We're actually more. This is the first time I watched a Mando episode where I was actually feeling tension. It's the first one where I was like, oh my God, this is going to go wrong. Something bad is about to happen to Grogurt, whatever the frack his name is. Kevin. Something bad. Kevin's going to be left home alone, and something's going to occur. And so this is the first step. Yeah, exactly.
So
hold on. So let's go ahead.
I was going to say what you were saying though. You're right, because the original trilogy was non-medicated bipolar. Like the highs were super high, the lows were super low. Whereas like the sequel trilogy was Wellbutrin, right? Like. You're not getting all the way up here.
Right.
So
I'm tracking. Yeah.
So
it was more like lithium.
Well,
And I guess the sequel trilogy is the stuff that gave those patients in Awakenings.
Yes, exactly.
We're all like catatonic and then suddenly catching balls. And then it ends with all in a ticks and shaking in a mask going, why did they make this movie?
Yes.
Let's dive into this. Episode is called chapter 14.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. If there's 2 left, it's 14.
So chapter 14, The Tragedy, stars our favorite Pedro Pascal as the Mandalorian, Tamora Morrison as Boba Fett. Spoiler. Ming-Na returns as Fennec Shand. Giancarlo Esposito as Moff Gideon, Gina Carano as Cara Dune in a short bit. We're going to give a shout out to Katie M. O'Brien, who was the comms officer last episode. We didn't give her a shout out, or 2 episodes ago. We'll give her a shout out now. So yay, shouts. And now let's do the mission report. All right, our mission report. On this week's How to Train Your Grogu, Din Djarin is really into playing fetch with the child. He's also tickled with calling out his name and watching the child react. However, he seems sad with the idea of giving the child to the Jedi. It's almost like he's trying to convince himself that it's the right thing to do. The 2 arrive on Tython, where they find a collection of stone ruins that looks like a good place for a Jedi to hang out or something like that. They arrive via jetpack since it's too narrow to land the Razor's Crest. But don't worry, Mandos parked it in a nice, safe place. The 2 arrive at the magic rocks, and there's a stone in the middle. Unsure what to do, Mando places the child on the rock and sort of waits. Ahsoka said this was supposed to be plug and play. Maybe perhaps you should take the child out and blow into him and then plug him back in. While he's trying to figure out how it works, the Mando spots a ship flying in the air. So kids at home, we all know it looks like Slave One. Could it be? Hang on to your Beskar, because it totally is! Grogu also figures out how to use the Seeking Stone, and an energy field surrounds him that Mando can't pierce. Mando goes to buy him some time and is confronted by a mysterious man who wants his armor. Not Mando's armor, but the set he got off Cobb Vanth. Boys and girls, I give you Boba Fett! He's also not alone. Remember Frederick, the sharpshooter from the Gunslinger episode? She's in cahoots with Fetts. They do some negotiations, but are interrupted by some stormtroopers. Din goes back to help the child. The others defend him from the stormtroopers. It's a slaughter. Fendrick and Fett continue to prove that stormtrooper armor is the most useless thing in the galaxy. Din tries once more to break the child out of his energy field, but is knocked unconscious instead. Boba Fett goes crazy with his gaffy stick and annihilates a squad of stormtroopers. Fennec uses a loose boulder to reenact Indiana Jones. Then Fett sees his armor in the Razor's Crest and goes to get it. While he's gone, Din goes to aid Fendrick, and soon it seems to all is lost when Fett shows back up with his armor and just finishes the job, sending troopers scurrying back to their transports. Fett uses his jetpack rockets to explode a transport, sending it into a second fleeing transport. Looks like stormtroopers aren't going home today. Then remember Mando parked the Razor's Crest in a safe place? Well, about that. The crest is destroyed by an orbital bombardment. Fett goes to secure Slave 1 so they don't lose both ships. All the while, Moff Gideon unleashes robotic dark troopers to fly down Iron Man style, swoop up and grab the kid who is now sleeping after his long-distance call. Slave 1 takes chase, but it's too late. The baddies take the baby. Fett has his armor and back and proves that it was his father's, but he promises he would protect the child, and now he has to finish that mission. The three head back to Dave Navarro, meet up with Marshal Cara Dune, and look for where Bill Burr is playing his next gig. Looks like Massachusetts is playing a prison for the next 50 years. Guess that's where we're going next episode. And before we end it all, we see the child is using the Force to smack two stormtroopers around after Moff Gideon teases him a bit. They stun the baby and put the most adorable pair of shackles on his cute little arms. The end. These are called...
Dude, do you know how much I held my tongue for you this time so that I didn't interrupt you?
Good, I'm glad. I'm proud.
During the whole battle report, I didn't say a word, did I?
Right, because you're learning.
I'm conscientious this time.
You're learning. So I
thought he was talking about the pause to insert the new one. I didn't realize you.
Oh, I was tracking.
Acting.
Directing.
So
I didn't tell you to do that, so you can't do it. It can't be done.
I'm going to allow it. Producing.
I made a choice.
Exactly right.
I like that take. Let's keep
God.
that one. I like how we sum up Hollywood. All right.
Brilliant.
So I have a friend of mine who I've mentioned him before, but during the pandemic he took Star Wars and went head first into it because there's not much else to do. He's a coworker of mine, and so he's watched everything. I mean, he even watched Resistance, which I warned him it's not the best, but he still watched it. So good on him. He called and we every Saturday we will have a discussion about what we thought about the episode, and then he just come out with the question I'm going to ask you guys. So is the Mando just an idiot?
Yes.
And
I think he's out of his depth.
So, and I was like you.
There's some bad characters. Honestly, I had a conversation. There's actually some bad writing this season for Mando. Maybe that's why Pedro, if those rumors of Pedro being frustrated are true, there's some out of character decision making that happens. If you look at season 1 and look at season 2, he makes some really, really weird decisions.
So,
like running into an electrical bubble multiple times. Why?
There's that, but and I kind of defended that, but the one that I couldn't defend was, so why doesn't he pick back up the jetpack? Because that would make his whole life a lot easier, and we could have got a cool aerial combat, Dark Trooper versus Mando in the air to fight for. And so it's fun. And then he mentioned, and I'm, look, I get it. Logically, I understand. So it's, we can't have him have the jetpack because we can't do that scene. We just can't, and we're not doing that scene. And so we got to give him a way to he's got to go up and down this hill. That's what's going to happen. But it would be, to me, a lot easier if they would have just said they would damaged it instead of just forgot about it. Because I forgot about it, and then he mentioned it, and that's all I can think of now. It's like, why didn't you just grab the backpack? You're going to fly back and forth. It could have made this a whole lot easier.
I didn't, every time after that initial scene when he dropped it and they sort of came to their agreement or whatever, all I could say was when he turned around, where's your backpack? Where's your backpack? Where's your
Well,
backpack?
Well,
And then there was the aerial combat, or the Dark Troopers came down, and I was like, oh, it was the MacGuffin, so he couldn't just be like, baby's mine, let's go.
yeah. And then, well, all I could think about is seeing him run up and down the hill, like speed it up, cue some Benny Hill music. And then the only other major issue I had with this episode, which I'll get to the directing thing in a second. The only major issue I had is at one point Mando looks up and he sees that there's a ship up there, right? And he sees that there's a massive ship in the atmosphere. And then later on, Boba goes after him and is like, "Hey, it's a Imperial ship. They're back." And there's no response from Mando whatsoever. Like, no shit, where you guys been? There's no.
Oh,
it's kind of weird.
No, I got you. I can top it. Ready? He fought stormtroopers 5 minutes before.
Right.
No one else uses stormtroopers except the Empire, so it's not so.
Right.
So why is he surprised?
Yeah, it was kind of weird. It's weird.
There was a beat where Ming-Na says something about they're not supposed to be operating here.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that Imperial cruiser was significant in the fact that it wasn't a out of touch warlord stormtroopers, it was the Empire proper. I wonder if that was just maybe what we were supposed to gather.
I could buy that.
Or maybe he's saying they're back, meaning they're back in this territory. Maybe there's a lot of that. Because I have a question about the Beskar situation, and I don't know if that's something we want to jump into yet or not.
The only thing that stormtroopers can hit?
Yeah, apparently.
It'll
a
block
magnet.
blaster bolts, but also attract them.
Yeah. So and you guys know this more than me. So this is idiots asking lore questions. So originally, Fett's armor or Jango's armor handed down to his son was originally Durasteel or Plastisteel.
Durasteel, I think.
All right, so it was originally Durasteel. So is his armor Durasteel or is his armor Beskar?
Beskar.
Or did they just retcon? They just retconned.
They
it?
retcon it's Beskar.
Wow. Okay. I was just curious.
It's Beskar. They retconned it, and because they retconned the whole thing. So Jango's now a foundling, which passes on to Fett. So Fett, they're both Mandalorians now, which I guess.
I'm okay with, as long as they made him a foundling. I'm okay with it.
So that was an easy fix.
And I guess to me it makes sense because he's got the mammoth signet anyway that is more like Bo-Katan penguin than it is the Mudhorn. Like it's just a picture. It's not a raised sculpture.
But look, let's be honest. Boba Fett should be Mandalorian because without Boba Fett, there's no Mandalorians.
That's true.
I mean, that's how we were introduced to him from the animated series and the action figure. This mysterious Mandalorian warrior. Okay. And so, of course, it makes sense that he's a Mandalorian. It's weird that George didn't want him or Jango to be Mandalorian. But, of course, as I was reading this week, George wanted to kill Ahsoka. He's in the Let's Kill Ahsoka group. So I'm glad he doesn't have control.
No joke. So what did you guys take? So I called when Scotty and I first talked, and then of course our Scotty sees it at 2, I see it at 5, JD sees it at 6. That's just kind of the pattern. So I'll wake up to a note from Scotty like, "Hey, let's talk," and then I'll send something like, "Oh my god," and then JD will be like, "I just woke up," and then we'll get the full concept. But like the thing that I took away from this that got me so riled up was multiple things, right? And I'm just going to lay them out, and then you guys can pick apart where you want. First off, I did not expect us to be on Tython, whatever it is, Python, Tyloid. I didn't expect us to go straight there. That was a fantastic surprise, and I loved it. Right, so we go straight to the meat of the story. Second, immediately Boba Fett Slave 1 shows up, and you're like, well, they're not going to play any cards on that. We know something's happening.
My first thought was, is that Slave 1?
That's the same here. I did not expect Fennec or Ming-Na, whatever. I did not expect her to show up, so that was awesome to me because we'll go to that. We'll go to that. Then the biggest 2 takeaways from this, one's a real takeaway, the other one's just fun. The real biggest takeaway for me, and I told Scotty this, is finally, and this is a big deal, finally Boba Fett is justified as being a fan favorite. Because prior to that, I know the comics exist in their canon, but not everybody knows that. Most people who like Boba Fett only know him from the movie. But now we know he's a legitimate badass. Like, we totally get it. He is 100% the baddest man. And then the last piece was, I did not know who directed this episode, so when it was done, seeing Robert Rodriguez's name up there made me very, very, very happy.
Yeah.
All right, now back to JD apologizing for being wrong. Let's go to that segment.
Well, our avid listeners will remember we've had multiple discussions about who picks up Fennec out of the desert at the end of that episode. From season 1, and y'all were right. It was not Jaren. If she was, she'd be dead because she would have been in the cargo hold in carbonite.
Right.
If it was my theory. So, and I can't remember which one of you said it was Boba Fett. I think it was Drew, but I could be incorrect.
No, I'll stand by and say Cad Bane was my pick.
Okay.
But I'm a bigger fan of Cad Bane, and I said that again to somebody else. I think that I love the Boba Fett angle. Don't get me wrong, but I love the idea of Cad Bane being in it. Would have been a nice touch. Maybe next season.
I just think it's a continuity error. It's a continuity error because I just didn't think about it. I don't think they thought about the Fett being in the Tuscan robes and stuff because he's not when she he gets Fennec, and so that throws everybody off. So when we see him, he's on these robes, and it's like can't be Fett. so
yeah, and I was just going with the simplest thing, which was Spurs out. Literally the laziest possible solution.
So the other question I have about Fett. So he's got Slave 1. So has he just always been on Tatooine, or did he? There's a lot of questions here.
Like, is he rear windowing his armor for 5 years? Like,
right? He's trying to.
Like,
I think he dances with wolves. Did I think he went straight Avatar? Like, I think he fell in love with a Tuscan woman, had a couple of weird kidlets, and I think he's been living with them. Now, my greatest theory is that from his learning of that, he realized that Cal, whatever his name is, skinny face, Deadwood,
Cobb
Vann.
Cobb, thank you. Cobb Vann. I think he may have observed that the fact that Cobb Vann was using, because Boba Fett's changed, he's nowhere near as evil seeming to me. So I think he maybe observed it and let the guy have it until at which point it became his again by being found.
Yeah, Fett seems to have some sort of code, which is interesting.
He does, which he's never had before, right?
Yeah, not that we've seen, at least visually. I can't talk about the novels and the comics I've never read, so I can't. I know that stuff's canon, but there's a lot of it, and so.
Yeah, I don't remember any. I'm sure there was in the later books when he trains Jaina and all this other stuff, there is a code there, but it's still just Boba Fett.
Right. And let's be honest, in the films, he's just a glorified UPS man anyway.
That's it. But that's why this episode's so important. It actually says, hey, all these years your obsession with Boba Fett is now officially okay. Before you were believing in a dude, you were hero worshiping a guy that has 2 lines. Three lines.
See, now I want to write Dances with Banthas. I really want to.
Yes. I'm telling you, I think he was there just kind of living his best life.
Because I can see it.
Dances with crates.
No, Banthas. Have to be Banthas. They're like buffalo.
But it's not Dances with Buffalo, it's Dances with Wolves, which is Predator.
Crate draggers are bigger than wolves, so it'd be like something, whatever's halfway in between, whatever the dog things
Dances with sand cats.
Yeah, whatever. But because now I can picture it. I can picture they pull him out, he recover. That's how he recovers. It takes him a little while because sand people medicine has to be terrible. Like, it's not modern. That's why he's all scarred up. It's not like I had access to Bacta. And then he learns, he recoups and learns with the sand people, falls in love, has a family, and then something happens to that tribe that leaves him alone. And so now he has another quest. He sees the armor and goes after the armor. Because he's got no attachments now. Something's had to rip those. That's why he's a changed man. That's how I would rate it.
Yeah.
What if his version of Stands with a Fist was that first offering to the Krayt Dragon in episode 1 or 2?
Meal for our crate.
Meal for a crate.
I am meal with a crate. It's like, what a really specific name.
My name foreshadows something. The prophecy has been said. I'm sorry.
In my language, my name means appetizer.
But it's not as bad as my friend over here gets snotted on by crate. That one.
In our language, his name means Kleenex. I kind of feel like I'm the only one who can make these kind of jokes. It's kind of fun.
Yep. Let you roll.
Yeah, just go for it.
I'm just impressed that the translation turns into a brand name, not just generic tissue paper.
Right.
Kleenex. Like
It's very forward
that
thinking.
means in like Kashik, my name might mean, I don't know, but anyway.
Whiskey.
Vic.
Your name means whiskey.
No, it would be Jim Beam, not just whiskey. My name be Jim Beam.
Right.
No, but you're JD, Jack Daniels.
Okay, so no one
Why
can
you
hear you do that.
I know. I wasn't going to give you the satisfaction.
Most people now just think, God, the podcast just went off. What happened? JD was shaking his head, not making noises. He's punishing us for feeling bad. I don't understand that.
Can you impregnate a pause in a podcast? Is it possible?
I
I
can't.
can't impregnate anything, baby.
Aren't you fixed?
Can that please be the opening line? Yeah. Like the cold open of this episode is, I can impregnate anything, baby.
Well, if I remember, and also children listen to it for a little bit, and then I don't want to be like out of the gate. I mean, I do wait a lot, 20 minutes before we start dropping really bad stuff.
All right, so we get Boba Fett, and that's like, what about the ship exploding? What do we do there? That's a pretty big turn. Like that's a massive, unexpected moment.
So, my first thought was me and the other 2,800 people that bought the Razor's Crest from HasLabs going, son of a bitch.
Or Woot. Why not Woot?
Hasbro got my $500
destroyed.
Limited edition. What if they sent it to you and it was a box of dirt?
Probably would.
I told him. I said I sent him a message. I think I said now it's just a box of Lego.
Right.
What if they just send you a box and it's a little silver spear?
Right.
Like that's all you get.
Okay, so seriously, to that point. So when he was sifting through the wreckage, he picked up three things. The last was his spear. The second was Grogu's ball. What? Now that first thing, at first my wife thought it was the tip of his disruption rifle, but it wasn't. It was but it had hinges. It was like a brace of something. But was it significant? Did you guys recognize it?
I didn't recognize it.
I didn't either.
But
okay.
Yeah, didn't recognize
I've watched twice now, and I didn't. I watched once on the phone, unfortunately, and once on the screen, and I didn't.
I watched it twice, once yesterday, once today. So.
Well, we went back and we actually paused it when he picks up that first thing because she was like, it was the front of his rifle. I was like, no, it wasn't. She was like, yes, it was. It had a U, but it didn't. It was almost like a broken brace, hinge, or sextant. I don't know.
Interesting.
It was really weird.
I like JD using the big word sextant. I get some education up in this podcast.
The best thing about this episode, I mean, obviously we bashed on it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm nitpicking it because I love it.
No,
right?
yeah, we this is fun bashing. This is not like what we did for the Gunslinger or the Prisoner. So,
unfortunately, the Prisoner gets a reference and is brought back.
Yeah, we got Space Massachusetts coming back.
Space Massachusetts is coming. I'm excited. Bill Burr's back.
People to bring back Space Massachusetts,
which ties into the fact that that Obi-Wan just started shooting in Boston, London. That cracked me up.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, it's wicked. It's friggin' wicked.
And apparently, so is Cassian Andor started shooting this week too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So
interesting.
So we've got those happening simultaneously.
Let me get those down for target for now. So then we also get the Baby Yoda scenario. Who did he reach out to? We have theories on that. That's the fun speculation, of course.
But
ripping across the internet.
But I think we're still at the with the 4 Jedi that we had from last week's discussion. Who could talk to? Luke, Leia, Ezra, or Cal Kestis?
Yeah.
What about the dude from Force Unleashed?
He's not canon.
It's not canon.
Yet.
And our Dark
I didn't ask if he was
Troopers from Force
canon. I
Unleashed.
just asked what about him.
Dark Troopers are from Force Unleashed, right?
No, they're from Dark Forces,
Yeah.
which is also a video game. So you're right. They're from a video game and they're brought in. Yeah, look, they can bring anything they want in. I just, I don't know. I mean, is Star Wars really going to have a guy running around called Starkiller?
All I know, you know what? You know who it is. It's Jar Jar.
Oh God.
No.
You know what? Oh, why? The name of the episode was The Tragedy. Who's Darth Plagueis the Wise? Jar Jar. So the tragedy equals Yoda. Baby Yoda go into Jar Jar train. He's the next Sith Lord.
Whoa. Hold the horses. Throw all the Jar Jar crap out. You mentioned something that I did not think of. What if it's a Sith?
Oh.
Yeah.
Who says that only one people can get that message?
Well, the interesting. He's making a monkey face. I'll describe
I've
it.
said it for weeks. What if Gideon got there so fast because he heard the beacon? I mean, I know they tracked his ship.
Yeah, that's the beacon he heard.
Damn.
I still don't think he's Force sensitive.
I think he wants to be.
I think he wants to be. I think he wants to be.
And I think he's emulating Vader. I think there's the more I watch it, the more. So I still believe that Gideon is a second to someone else. He's the enforcer to, I believe, Thrawn. Yeah, that's my theory. And so I think Gideon is still doing that game. Like I feel like he's the Darth Vader to the Thrawn's Emperor.
So if he's second to Thrawn, let's just. I don't believe it, but let's speculate. So if he's the second to Thrawn has no interest in the Force. So is this project of Gideon's like his own project, like when Thrawn was in charge of the Defender Project?
Well,
like this was because real quick, because the Defender Project ate up resources from the Empire, and so did the Death Star Project, and so in the end, the Death Star Project wins. He loses. That's why at the end of Rebels, he goes to fly to He goes back to Coruscant to talk to the Emperor and about his Defender Project, and this is when he's told.
They send him on that's also when they send him on the crappy scenario, like in the old canon ways, right? They throw him away right there.
That's when they send him back to Lothal. He came back to Lothal, and that's the last episode. Like he's gone, like in the 2 episodes before the finale, because he's not there when Kanan dies. Spoiler.
That's right.
Because Governor Price does it, but they do it. They kill him by destroying all the fuel, so all the factories for the Defender Project can't happen, and he's upset as Thrawn can be. And but he's been told that Director Krennic's project is going to go forward, and the Defender Project isn't. And so that's what the weight he's carrying when he comes back, and then he gets trapped wherever Ezra is. It's a shitty day for him. Because he thinks if he can get Lothal, he'll get his project back.
Right.
Okay. So, in the original appearance of Thrawn, which was the first showing up of the first books that were written, the Thrawn trilogy,
right,
was him cloning George Sabath.
I brought this up.
Is history no longer canon, but they've brought a lot of things from Legends into canon of him needing somebody with the Force. So what if his mandate to Gideon is get me a Force user that can battle meditate my fleets?
I like it. I like it.
Well, I think there's also he's Chiss, correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And aren't they the ones that have they call it something else? It's like is it females maybe? But somebody in their species is Force sensitive that helps them become really great pilots for a period of time. Am I remembering this correctly, or am I making up some shit?
Legend stuff, I don't know.
Yeah, the only time I've heard anything specifically about a female Force-sensitive Chiss is in the supposed next Rebel of Seasons synopsis, or next season of Rebels synopsis.
That was very Yoda of you. That's okay.
Yes, season 2 Rebels. Yes. Yes.
Synopsis, yes. Rebels 2 season, yes.
Baby Yoda, yes.
A meme popped up on my Facebook that I posted exactly a year ago today. It's like, are Baby Yoda's first words going to actually be his seconds?
All right, so we go back to speculation. I love the idea of a Sith. That's fantastic thinking. We obviously have the 4 that Scotty has kind of. I don't want it. I know everyone's hot to try. Like the internet's hot right now for Sebastian Stan as Luke.
Oh,
I'm not into that.
I'm into.
I'm not into.
I
it.
will Sebastian Stan that all day long. Stan.
I'm sorry. I'm standing by Ezra.
I will stand that. That's for you kids out there. You get it.
I am convinced, as I was last episode. It's funny. We have a loyal listenership, but we don't have the wide listenership that others do. And I know this is probably group thinking or anything, but we were one of the first to, I was at least one of the first to say, hey guys, maybe this episode happens before the Rebels coda. Now they're like, it's happening before. Like even Filoni come out and says, well, time is funny in Star Wars. And that's his way of saying, yes, that's happened after the Rebels coda. So it happens before the Rebels coda.
And I agree with you. And you were the one that called. Or this is an Ahsoka lives ? Versus Ahsoka lives !
Right.
Moment.
So
because Filoni is a little bit of a trickster. He's a little bit of a
yes,
Loki of himself.
He is definitely that. I'm still convinced, unless otherwise. I mean, unless Sabine shows up in an episode, I'm convinced that she finds the information from not Ming-Na and takes it to Lothal, and her and Sabine go out and find Ezra. Go find because
it's weird. Yeah, go ahead.
Which is great because then that leaves it wide open for Rosario Dawson led show.
Right.
Which is I'm all for. I think it's fantastic too, and it could very well be. It's just funny to me because part of our discussion was using what is the kid's name? What is Hera's kid's name?
Jason. Using Jason as the reference point, but I don't know if that's accurate even. I think if time's going to be fluid, that whole sequence is out of order, right? The whole ending is out of order of what we're seeing. They're just giving us recaps of everything that happened. But no, even then, it's like, the only things that they showed us 3 things visually. Zeb and Callus going to Lyrasan 2 or whatever the hell they go. Whatever to go live their life together because they're totally a gay couple, and so the fans want it. I'm kind of like I could see it.
I'm all for it.
I'm all for it. Go live your life. And then
a bunch of bears. Just a bunch of bears. Big old bear cave.
And so, and then you got Hera and Jason, and then you've got Ahsoka and Sabine, and that covers everybody.
Yeah.
So,
but we don't know the timeline of those moments, is what I'm saying.
Right, but we're clearly they're all after the Battle of Endor. We know that. We just don't know how far.
Right.
So.
All I know is if they do have the Rosario-led Ahsoka show and she needs a love interest, I'm here.
Duly noted.
You could be Sith Lord Beard Fosse. Darth Beard Fosse.
So if they make me a doctor or a Darth, I'm evil. She'll just murder me.
Maybe not. Maybe you're a snarky love interest. It's just conflicted.
Can I drop a criticism?
Always go for it.
Giancarlo Esposito is a extremely talented. Right, exactly. Right, is an extremely talented actor, right? And he's been proven to be an effective bad guy. Why is he written as a mustache twirly villain?
Which is what JD is doing.
What JD's choice is about. I don't.
It looks good too. What the hell?
He's gonna start twirling his mustache.
I think you should.
But clearly I'm not wrong on it because JD's caught on to it. I mean, clearly I'm not wrong on this, right? I'm not misreading this. He's very
No.
like, oh look, we have
Well, I
to.
was
Let's
thinking
watch
more,
the baby
"Wah."
kill people. And I got a question. So here's my problem with Moff Gideon, and I think from the beginning, I was wondering this. Why do villains kill their own people?
Well, I think that's yeah, that's it. It is in the writing rule book. If you want to show someone as even more evil, you can have them do a lot of vicious acts. But I think to really convey it to an audience and dumb it down, there's two things you can do in writing that are tropes. Well, there's three. One is rape, but that's not going to happen in Star Wars. So the other two options are kill an animal, kill a pet, right? That upsets the audience.
Right.
And or watching a villain kill his own men, that upsets the audience as well. It says to the audience, it's a visual cue, auditory cue to say stakes higher.
But
right?
see,
and I think that's what they're doing.
so even if they do that,
He's very much a trope. He's a trope.
right?
That's
Okay,
my problem.
but even when they do that, when we never saw him kill people. It was just Taika did it in that comedy way with the two scout troopers. Remember? Oh well, they've killed, and so my problem with that is, I mean, honestly, really for Star Wars fans, you can get them upset, punch a baby Yoda or empower a woman, and they will just fucking lose their mind. So, so it's what happens. But
they're also QAnon fans. The same people that get upset about that are.
Hey, President Trump is just trying to save the babies from being eaten by the cultural elite. There, I said it.
No, what is that crap called? Silver Steed, Silver.
I don't know.
what's
We
it
just
called?
lost all our QAnon listeners.
Oh no!
All three of them. There's three.
Darn it.
Hey, when you only have like 28 listeners, the three we need.
Look, they're gonna get their hit. They're gonna get their hit of adrenochrome and come back.
That's
Right.
it. Adrenochrome.
Adrenochrome.
I knew there was something. Chrome, silver, same thing.
I think I really wish.
Well, do you want me to go down the rabbit hole? Mad Max is secretly a movie telling you that. So the opulent dudes that are spraying it's shiny and chrome. That's talking about adrenochrome. So what the bad guys represent Mad Max. Mad Max is actually Donald Trump, and then the woman in it is that crazy Kellyanne Conway, and that's what Mad Max is actually about, and everybody else in there is a liberal.
What do you say?
I'm saying when they spray themselves with adrenochrome, that's what they're doing. They're telling you that, I'm just saying, all the villains in Mad Max are liberals.
Gosh darn liberals.
I'm trying to get the QAnon listeners back.
I got you. I feel you.
They already stopped. We're good.
I will never get that out of my brain now. That just took resonance up there. Just nestled itself between like Star Trek and Star Wars knowledge. It kicked the last bit of math knowledge I had right on out.
Listen, there's a good YouTube viral video there.
Oh
if
yeah,
you can just go ahead and produce that.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Dude, that would become QAnon canon. You'd be famous and murdered.
No, I wouldn't be murdered. Because it's not. I'd be like a Scientologist. I'm good.
Yeah, that's better.
It'd be really scary if like one of our screens went black suddenly.
That's because I got a text.
Be like, what happened to JD?
From QAnon.
Now we know
HQ,
too much.
It's like JD.
What's your current location?
Darth Beardfuss, you must shut them off.
Are we live? How do they even know?
They always know, JD. They always know.
Dude, Carl, my NSA guy, apparently at this point is pissed off at me if that's the case.
How's it going, Carl? Can you imagine? I would totally watch an entire show about like you meeting your NSA agent, and his name is Carl. It's like, how's it going, Carl? It's like, oh man, it's just tough. Life's really hard right now. Like he's really depressed.
Yeah.
Because all he does is listen to how like great your life seems, but all he can do is listen to you. That's all he can do.
Oh no! If he was listening, he would be depressed at my depressed.
He's probably like this stupid motherfucking Star Wars nerd. My God, all he talks about is Star Wars and painting 40K shit.
Or he's a Trekker, which makes it even worse.
Is it Trekker? I believe it's
I
Trekkie.
don't know.
Sir. Don't
I think
insult
there's
the
both.
Trekkie. Yeah, don't insult the other side of the fence.
There's both.
We can't lose everyone. We can't lose them all. We got to catch them all, like Pokemon.
I think Trekkers are something like a group of people were trying to make work, like in Mean Girls. Look, you're not going to make fetch happen, and so
I think Trekkers are Star Wars fans that have watched one episode of Next Generation, and it happened to be Data's Day, the most boring episode ever made, and so they just like, I'm a Trekker.
What happened in Data's Day?
Nothing happened in Data's Day. That's the point of the episode.
I don't even remember it.
Please tell me
Chief
we
O'Brien
can do
gets
that,
married.
but it's just like the Matrix screen of binary.
Oh my God. Jesus. This
POV,
tangent brought to you by Grogu.
Grogurt. Jesus Christ, you can't even get the product name right.
Are your kids starving? Are they last of a race? Grogurt. It's the race saver. I don't know what that means, but I'm going with it.
It's
the race that eats the other races.
It's either available in frog egg or blue macaroon.
That's it. The only two options.
So is Ming-Na a robot? I can't figure that. Is she part robot? What is she?
I think she's
a robot
now.
stomach. Yeah, she has a robot stomach.
It's a really weird. It was a weirdly weird placement for a cyborg. Did they just hook her together?
It's really weird that Boba had the parts. Well, that's a good thing she got shot in the belly button.
Right. Do you need that? I have a replacement over here.
Well, I thought it was kind of interesting because it reminded me of oh my God, Darth Maul when he had the spider legs.
Right. I just
like how he just kind of cobbled some crap together.
Right, but I just couldn't figure out like it's a weird inside thing. I couldn't.
He rolled a 20. He rolled a nat 20. Or a triumphant if you're playing that.
Oh, the old yeah.
Yeah.
So I like how I'm going to go back to the beginning when first of all, so it was great to see Titan. I agree with you, but it was like I was expecting a temple, and we got a couple of rocks.
We got
some old school.
And it was, old school. I do like when he brings up Grogu up and was like, so does this seem Jedi to you? And he starts looking around for like a way to turn it on. He's like,
but
Ahsoka's just said I plug you in. I don't understand what's not working.
But you're like, yeah. Does this look Jedi to you? Grogu's like, dude, I'm 6. like what? Nothing looks Jedi to me.
Dude, he's a pet. He's a freaking pet. And my theory on him being seen as a pet is further emphasized in the opening where he's like, Grogurt. And the little turd turns and looks at him and smiles and laughs. That's the same look I get from a dog. But I would be like, hey, dog. He'd be like, who? My dog's name is Dog. Like, do you want to go outside? And he'd be like,
well, seriously, you named your dog Dog?
His name was Dog 1138. Because I thought it would be funny as shit in college. If he ever escaped and someone found him, his tag would say Dog number 1138. And they'd be like, oh my God, this is animal testing. I don't know why. That was my whole thing.
Or they would try to call to whatever O is.
I'm surprised his children are not named Human 1138 and Human 1139.
No, Human 1138 and THX Human.
Yeah, that's very confusing.
I kind of wanted to see what Grogu was experiencing instead of like from a point of view. I was like, what's happening in there? I was really curious, but we didn't get that.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed because they don't really follow. You know, our perspective in season 2 has shifted. In season 1, our perspective was pretty much locked to the Mandalorian. Like we saw things most of the time through his eyes. And in this season, we've been jumping. Like he's knocked out for half the episode.
Right.
Like he's unconscious as we get the Boba and Fennec show, which was delightful.
Well, I mean, this whole season.
So I would have loved to have seen a little moment.
So we were at episode 6 this season? I would say one episode is about Mando. The rest of them are not.
Yep.
The first episode is
we only got 2 left, right?
Right. First episode is about how cool it is to see Mando, Boba Fett's armor, and oh shit, a crate dragon. 2 is about Mando trying to get the frog lady, but it's mostly about it's Mando's journey of that. 3 is, hey, look, Bo-Katan. 4, it's Too Fast, Too Furious.
Oh my God, you really boil these down pretty well.
And then 5 is, oh my God, Ahsoka. And Michael Biehn.
Right.
But hey, oh my God, Ahsoka. And then this one has been the Fett Fenric show. And so next week will be Massachusetts.
But what's been great is I've enjoyed, I mean, except for Frog Lady, not a fan still. I've enjoyed every aspect. Like this season to me was way more enjoyable. I've had more surprises. I've leaned in more. I've experienced something much more entertaining this season than I have from the first.
So from a television perspective, is that a good or a bad thing?
It's a good thing. That means they're getting their legs.
I don't know, because the show's about the Mandalorian and it's not been about the Mandalorian.
I understand, but they're getting their legs, meaning it means that we're getting a bigger universe out of it as opposed to a small. That means they're going to invest more money. They've invested more money into this season than they did the previous season. Which shows growth. That's a bigger deal.
I understand that, but strip all that away. Strip all that. I'm talking strictly story. I mean, the essence is you have to tell a good story. And while it's
but I feel like we've gotten one.
I think we've gotten an entertaining story. I don't know if it's necessarily good.
I think it's better than the first season in the sense that what was the first season about?
See, I don't know if it's a good show because of that.
There's no through line in the first season.
I don't think there's a through line in the second season either. Here's the thing. For those who are listening, I love this show. And if the show is just going to be eye candy of the week, I'm okay with that. However, you've established a character and you made a big deal about this Mandalorian character, and then only to say, well, we have to have something for the pre-advertising. The show's going to be really about this Muppet that we're going to have and sell a shitload of toys out of, and then we're going to put all your favorite stuff in it around your Muppet. And
that's this season, man.
Well, it's also last season.
To a degree, but I mean, last season was meandered, and that was the conversation I think I remember us having on the recap. Is that my opinion was it meandered a bit because I don't feel like this season, last week we all thought that this episode was going to potentially be a cool off episode, right, and it was the opposite of that. I feel like they've accelerated this season to be a little more. The through line in this episode is more clear, which is find Baby Yoda a home. That's what I feel like this through line is. But the last episode is what to do with Kevin.
So I don't think I am not confident by the end of this season, Baby Yoda will have a home.
He will not.
And so,
but by end of season 3 is what I projected earlier this season.
I think they'll have the option by season 3, but I do not think Baby Yoda will take it. That's shooting themselves in the foot. Baby Yoda is their cash cow.
Yeah, but this is the only way Baby Yoda becomes a Jedi is if that Jedi joins the team. You can't take Grogu off the show. You can't.
No, you can't take Grogu off.
Right, and so he's either not going to be he's not going to be a Jedi, but he's got all the cool power. So yes, he's going to be a Jedi. There's no way they're not going to make him a Jedi. So it's going to have to be
the moment. No, he could be a Sith. He could be dark.
I don't see him going dark.
Well, hopefully Freddie Prinze Jr. isn't listening. Maybe he can go gray.
Oh, don't. No, bad. No, we're not having that combo.
Well, can't he just be a Force user though and not pick a side?
He can, but it's Star Wars, so he's going to have to pick a side. They're not going to have a free agent. They got one.
They had one.
They got one in Ahsoka. They got one in Ahsoka, and Ahsoka's more Jedi than Jedi anyway. So, she says she's no Jedi in that one thing, but it's like, well,
it goes back to my whole theory of me personally. There's a I've talked about it before. I think maybe not on this show, but I find there's an interesting relationship between, I don't like the word religion, but spirituality versus religion. Mm-hmm. And I feel like Ahsoka is a very spiritual person. Like she's in terms of belief, she has a faith in something. right? But it's not the archetype of what a Jedi was. If the Jedi represents the sort of structured religion element, she's not into that, but she does believe that there's something to that religion. Does that make sense?
Right.
But with the Force, not to get too theological, but with the Force, there's like if you can touch it like she can, there doesn't have to be faith. She can tangibly manipulate it. So at that point, it's just not being part of the rule set that the Jedis have.
Right. That's what I mean.
Right.
That's what I mean.
Okay.
I think Ahsoka has learned that the Jedi way was flawed. There's another way where you can do all you want and still not be corrupt. Then again, she had this whole thing about attachment. That's why she wouldn't train Grogu. She saw the best of them fall. Meaning Anakin and Vader, and she doesn't seem like she's attached, and she doesn't really seem like she's been attached. So, it's curious, I think.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So
I don't know. I find the season fascinating. I'm happy with it as it is currently. And I know you're not saying that. I'm saying right. I'm happy with it as from a narrative standpoint. I feel like this is a little more cohesive than the first season.
It's beautiful eye candy, but when it comes down to I think the story's a mess. There's no. Who are we watching?
I think maybe 10 minutes more an episode of the little cut scenes like we had. I know you think he's all twirly and stuff, but like where we had that last little beat with when we first saw Gideon with the Dark Troopers, right? More of the non-Mando point of view, building the story around Mando's trials and tribulations with I'm about to say Govin, Kevin and Grogu together.
Govin.
I would like, and we'll talk about this after. Well, I'm going to touch base on this in a couple of weeks when we do our recap show. But I would like to see going forward the journey, and we're not getting that. This Mando has gone. I mentioned this episode, the Mandalorian episode, the Eris episode. He has now come face to face with another way. And now, in this episode, he's faced again with another way. So, is he a child of a watch, or is he a Mandalorian? And that's the story. That's the story I want. I want this. The helmet. They made such a big deal about not removing the helmet, and so if he has to come to grips with it, that he realizes that is not the way. That's a journey. On the flip side, we also find out in the last episode that Grogu has to decide what he wants. Does he want to be a Jedi or not? And the Seeing Stone was part of that. And to me, it's clearly there's a signal that's sent out there. So these two are on the same path of discovery, and we're not going to get it, and that kind of bums me out.
I don't know. I think we may.
This season.
I think we may. I think that's the journey. I think that's the episode. The episode is he is. Are you familiar with the Western Once Upon a Time in the West?
Yes.
Yeah, I think he is the harmonica playing man.
Right.
He is wandering about looking for purpose, interacting with because if you think about that movie, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's been a while since I've seen it. I watched the intro a lot, but it's been a while since I watched the whole movie. There are so many extra characters in that film, right? They revolve around the harmonica playing man. It's not necessarily about him all the time, but there's so many, like Peter Fonda being the villain. All those great characters revolve around him, and he's the centrifuge in which they rotate, right? I think that's what we're going to get from this, and eventually what will happen is maybe in the next two episodes, as weird as it sounds, they may streamline it, and he does come to terms with taking off his helmet. Like, that could very well happen. I think the Kevin Jedi thing is something that will be drug out. I think that's going to be the underlying build. I did not watch the first two seasons of Game of Thrones. The only reason I'm referencing this is because I read it recently that it was Filoni or Favreau referenced Game of Thrones in the development of the show. Was Game of Thrones? I remember there being like 10,000 characters in the first season, and it turned me off. But it's a very slow build to get to the Red Wedding, which is season 3?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
And that was the big moment, right? The Red Wedding was the one that was like, when that finally happened, everybody was like, oh my God. And that's the one that accelerated the storyline.
I think the difference between here and there, I don't see them building. Game of Thrones didn't have the luxury of popping in an Ahsoka or Bo-Katan in their second season. You know what I'm saying?
But they threw in characters,
right?
We know who they are, but a general audience doesn't.
Yeah, but I don't know if I don't like even the net wasn't really that. Oh, so and so, what's his face is? We didn't. There's not that buzz. Really until after the Red Wedding was the biggest buzz that they had, but from the Red Wedding on, it was like crazy shit. But I'm okay with that. I'm just afraid it's going to turn into event of the week. And here, because in the end it comes to money. They're making a shit ton of money. They're getting a shit ton of views off this. And so if they can dangle Ahsoka and whoever else, hell, they could dangle them all in front of us. You don't know who they're going to dangle in front of us, and we all watch. And if it doesn't progress the Mandalorian storyline, why aren't we doing an anthology series? And again, like I said, I love the show if this is what it's going to be, but in the end, I kind of want more. And I'm looking at Favreau and Filoni going, what happened here? This is cool, but where's the meat? And there's no meat; it's all dessert.
Maybe so, but it's the only current Star Wars that's working.
And so is that the only way Star Wars?
That's it.
So is that the only way Star Wars works?
I'm wondering if it's not just that Star Wars in the live action sense has got to be, pardon the expression, but dumbed down. It's got to be the simplified version of it in order to make it effective. That's what I'm wondering.
And also, they can't have 20-something episodes a season to build and have different little side arcs and stuff. This feels like all the side arcs of a Rebel season without the unifying story meaty, like you were asking. It's got a outline of a story, but it's not. I mean, I don't know.
No, I agree with it, but my argument to that is that they picked that number. They picked that number, and it's not like
no. The studio picked that number. That is a complete financial.
No. That's what I'm
scenario.
saying. I'm saying they picked that number. They being Disney picks that number, and even I think with the more money, I bet the studio was like, "Can we get some more episodes?" And Favreau and Filoni's like, "No, you said 8. We're going to make 8 a season." And so, because they're weird. I don't know. I didn't mean to throw us off on that tangent, but there's a journey here that we should be witnessing, and I don't think we're witnessing that. And I think they're more focused on what's the cool thing and the more shiny thing over here instead of like. You made a cool Mandalorian is a cool character. Din Djarin's an interesting character. And what do we know about him?
Well, and I think they're just good. It's just trickled out. It feels more like, and I'm with you. And it's not a contrarian point of view. I just feel like it's a slow drip sort of angle.
I think it would be fine to be a slow drip if they would have called this Star Wars Aftermath or Star Wars Outer Rim, but they didn't. They called it The Mandalorian, and so that means to me that's his show, right?
I think it's just too simple. I think it's simpler than I think. Knowing you and your intelligence level, I think the show is too simple for you, Scotty. At the end of the day, I think your intelligence level.
No, it's not, because I get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and squeal over it. I like it. Fair enough.
But Rebels was way more dense. The first season, not so much, but then it suddenly just started stacking. And as Rebels stacked, at least knowing your love for it got deeper.
Right.
Whereas Mando doesn't stack very much. Mando is like, hey, it's surface level Star Wars. This is where we're at. And the downside of that, and I agree with you, as I said this last season, is that when I said it meandered, is because it never told me a story. It just kind of showed me a bunch of cool scenes, which is what this one's doing. It actually feels like I'm sitting in on part of a D&D session.
Right.
Or an RPG session more than anything else. It's like Creature of the Week in the RPG. And the enjoyment I get out of it is, oddly, as much as I love the speculation and all that, the enjoyment is nothing will ever be to me, will be as enriching as Rebels was, but this at least gives me something where it's like, hey, I can enjoy Star Wars again. I can at least enjoy it. I can enjoy it for what it was. Whereas I had not for a long time because the sequel trilogy is so just shit on a stick.
So here's my issue with that, though. I agree with you 100% on that, but my question is why? What makes the live-action one more difficult? We have Filoni there, who wrote Rebels. We've got him there, and he's writing good. I mean, the one episode he wrote is good. I just
Unions make it more difficult.
I'm not asking for more characters.
I guarantee you, it's all money. All of it's money. All of it.
I want a better story. I want a story. I don't want a better story. I want a story. I gave first season a pass because shit. It's Star Wars. It's a Star Wars live action TV series. We've always wanted that, right? All right, so it gets a pass. It meanders. 100%.
Okay, well, hold on. There's one other component. You're bringing up Filoni, which I would agree with. There's one component that people aren't going to like, and he's more in charge of it than I think people realize, and that would be Favreau.
Yeah.
Favreau could very well be the problem.
Maybe so. Maybe because he's written the majority of the episodes.
Yeah.
He's written all but one this season, I know.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, maybe that's what it is.
And he talks about how he writes them in a single sitting. So it's not like he's going through and having a writer's room. On Gallery, he talked about how he cranked these out like over Christmas break. So this dude's writing these in like 12, not even 12 weeks. He's writing them in 4 weeks.
Right.
So maybe the bigger problem is that we're getting first drafts. To your point, and I'm not arguing with you about it.
No. I think we're arguing. I think this is a healthy discussion.
Yeah, it could very well be that Favreau is just giving us. You and I both know as writers. I don't know how much writing you do, JT. You usually get the final word into it, right? Character development doesn't come from your first idea normally. Right. Script development doesn't come from your first idea. Might be the seed, but it does take some time to build it out, and then you play with other stuff. You play with an accent. Maybe it's a German. I don't know. I think it's just we're limited. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, we kind of want to hear what you're going to say. I need you to text your mama. I need a giant pizza. I'll pantomime it. You just mute yourself, and I'll.
Okay, well, since you're listening anyway, text her that I either want a big burrito with like.
Please put this in the episode.
Or
this is JD's dinner
a bunch
order.
of Carnita's street tacos. She's texted me twice. I can't text her back right now. Go, turn around, go.
What?
Well, then hurry. You get out of the way. I'm not done. Go away.
Which one was that?
That was the eldest and the Grayson.
Anyway,
so
great discussion.
I know I think it's great. I love the show. I just like knowing what it could be. I'm like, knowing what it could be.
In fact, I would encourage people to, if anybody listening, to throw that conversation up on the page. Right. I think it's a further conversation. How do you feel about it? Do you feel like, and not in a bashing way, we're all here as fans.
Yeah. I'm not
and I think we're saying this out of love. Do you love the idea of where Mando's going, or do you want it to be something else? Do you feel like it's lackluster? And just give us your comments on the page, and let's see what people say.
Any thoughts, Jay?
Or join Scotty in his live stream. He's going to start tomorrow.
What? I don't want to turn one of those guys and be like, all right, I'm going to be in my truck.
Why not?
I'm going to be in my truck and be like, all right, time to bitch about the Mandalorian.
You mean like MC Chris's douche ass did today?
What did MC Chris do today?
Oh, God, he put this post up and was like, I wanted it, and then I found out I am truly a nerd because I hated what I wanted. And so I got what I wanted, and I got what I asked for, but I didn't like it.
What's not to like?
He didn't, because apparently him having a song called Fett makes him an expert on Boba Fett.
Sure, yeah, his backpack has jets. He's Boba the Fett.
And since
a bounty hunt for Jabba the Hutt.
Anyway, I think he's I remember the time he came to Ground Zero.
I do too.
Just not a cool person. And his voice annoys me.
Wait,
straight up.
So he just wasn't happy with Fett.
He wasn't, and he's I don't know. I'm just going to shut up.
Maybe he was just...
Look, it's weird. It's weird. I think a lot of people hold The Mandalorian as precious because I think many of us are just very dissatisfied Star Wars fans from the sequel, the sequel trilogy. And so we all hold it maybe a little bit closer than we should. Not all of us, but a lot of us. I mean, even the Star Wars Explained guy, who's the most neutral dude I've ever met, is that way. Oh, you guys doing your Mortal Kombat fight scene?
No, I'm doing
I was like, I saw him moving, so I was trying to...
Oh, JD's doing Stevie Wonder. I guess I was singing a song.
I got you.
No, I was
singing a song of Fire and Ice.
I was doing my neener. I enjoyed the sequel trilogy because I had no expectations and I got more Star Wars. So
But more Star Wars is not always good Star Wars.
Yes, it is. Except for Resistance.
God, Resistance is so bad. It's so bad.
Yeah,
And that makes me sad because it should have my boy in it. And it does.
And it does. And it doesn't. Yeah, it has no direction. I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to talk about Resistance. I don't do a show about Resistance.
Would you rather talk Ohm?
Let's.
That was like a dad level joke 5. Yes, go ahead, please.
I want to talk. I want to mention. I want to mention. I should have mentioned at the top of the show, but we got straight into the show. Was so crazy. We want to talk about it, but we lost David Prowse this week.
Yeah, we sure did.
And so that's a big deal. With regardless of when you saw Star Wars, I know us three saw the original New Hope first, right? And that iconic shot of when Vader comes into the Tantive 4. That was intimidating. Just that whole and that's David Prowse. David Prowse is for those who are not aware, I don't know why you're listening to the podcast, but if you want to learn, he's the guy who's in the suit for a majority of the time in the original trilogy. There's some stunt guys too in it too, but at times. But David Prowse is Darth Vader. And he was from Scotland. He has a little weird Scottish voice, and that's why we got James Earl Jones as the voice.
If you have a chance to, go ahead, Scotty.
But say on YouTube you can see some clips of him with actual talking, which is fun.
There's a great documentary called "I'm Your Father."
Mm-hmm.
If you can find it, it is fantastic. It's going to be a little, maybe as a Star Wars fan, it's probably a little more heartbreaking now than it was when I first saw it. But I love the doc. Because it's kind of a unfortunate dark side of Star Wars that's not stupid fanboy crap.
Well, I'll be honest, George and the company were not fair to him.
They were not. They were total shit shows.
They were very not fair to him, and so which is unfortunate. They could have. And it's something I think it's a lesson that they learned later on. But even after they learned the lessons, they didn't invite him along to play. Because there was just this kind of grudge area between them, and that's a shame. That's a dear shame. But I met him on a couple of occasions at a couple of conventions. He was nothing but wonderful and pleasant to talk to, and so I got some cool autographs from him. He was at Pensacon a couple of years ago. That's one of his last shows was Pensacon.
Wow.
Yeah, he just recently last couple of years retired from signing. Altogether, he did a couple private sightings before the end, but so COVID-19 got him, which is sad.
Wow.
Yeah, so other news is, I guess we'll talk about this. So I get a message from Drew on Monday morning.
I don't remember.
It was early this week.
I send you a lot of messages.
You do send me a lot of messages, and he says, first of all, thank you. And I'm like, what did I do? And then, and then the next message was, Ahsoka called me, or actually Eckstein called me. And then I'm like, what? And then it dawned on me. So for Christmas, for Drew, I got him an Ahsoka, a cameo video. Because for my birthday, you gave me Hera.
Yep.
And I was like, well, I think it would be cool if I got you Ashley, because Ashley wasn't available back in August. She just joined Cameo. And I was like,
she just joined.
She just joined Cameo, and so I purchased one for Christmas, and so I put the information in. I went back and looked. Nowhere do I put your contact information at all. All I say is in the description, my buddy Drew Hall, and from that, they contacted Drew when it was done.
Yeah, they did.
And ruined my Christmas present to him 3 weeks early.
Yeah. It's a fantastic message. She goes on for, 4 minutes, 3.5, 4 minutes. She jumps between being herself and Ahsoka Tano and gives me a bunch of lines. Like, she says lines to me as Ahsoka. It's delightful. It sounds like I have an open invitation to ask her to audition for something. She's like, I love your films. I'm like, well, let's go.
Oh, well,
I
think that's something we should do.
Yeah, we're going to completely. Yeah,
give her an extra boost to the career. She can't, she's got her universe, so she's not hurting for money. But I think, give her something else besides Ahsoka would be fun.
Yeah, and it's a fantastic dude. It's one of the out of the cameos. I love cameos; they're super fun, especially like if you find stuff that you know somebody really loves. So the fact that she goes on as long as she does is out of all the ones I've purchased for not just me, for friends as well. Like it is one of the best. It was an app. So as I told Scott, I was like, I'm super grateful. It made a really shitty day amazing. So it probably was the universe, God, whatever you want to believe in, decided that era should happen because I was having a big rough day, and it definitely made me like. I sat there just tears in my eyes of joy. So
Well,
it was great.
Merry Christmas.
Thanks, buddy. JD, we did get you Dr. Beard Fosse from Scrubs. However, he apparently passed away from COVID, so it's a little odd.
I'm hoping you
So
get
I'll
that
just
money.
take over for him.
Yeah, you're gonna replace him.
We have another. I bought another cameo video. It will be a surprise. We will save for the recap episode.
Oh, delightful.
And so you've both seen it. So, but we'll save it for the recap episode. So there's another Star Wars actor. So
Okay. I thought you meant another.
No.
Another. We got Carl Weathers.
And there was another. You know, that makes that line a whole lot different.
Yeah.
When Luke is like going off on Dagobah and is leaving, and Obi-Wan's like, "That's a boy's our only hope." And it's like, "There's another." Yeah, of course. Apparently, there's an Ezra and a Ahsoka out there, and a couple.
Right.
And
right.
Yoda knows about both of them.
And Yoda knows probably about Baby Yoda.
Probably, yeah. He probably knows about Grogu. I mean, he's the only one of
I
his.
don't know. I think they clarify that in Return when he's dying and he tells there is another Skywalker.
It took me like years to understand what he was saying.
I know. But now, as we were saying earlier, they're all going to be Skywalkers. Now there's Rey Skywalker.
That's what they're called.
Skywalker.
The Chiss are called Skywalkers. The Chiss with Force powers are called Skywalkers.
Do you see my eyebrow at you?
Oh man!
Yeah, I see. You went straight Vulcan from that show Star Trekker.
That makes my brain hurt.
I went The Rock.
I would.
You look now. It's more Rock. Earlier, you had more of a Spock sort of.
Well, that was the light hitting my glasses.
I would take Jar Jar Sith over that.
Done. Canon.
It's already happening. JD Chris.
Anything else, gentlemen, you want to talk about?
No, sir.
Getting a big burrito.
You about to get that big burrito.
Boom.
Where's it from?
JD was sick, and the only way to fix it is a big burrito. I got a virus, and the only cure is a big.
Dude, so like seriously, no lie. We've been stuck in the house 2 weeks with like this stomach virus. Literally, the week we got better, I got stuck back in quarantine because somebody came into our store with it, like with the Rona, because people are jerks. So anyway, so this week, the week after we've been down for a week and a half with stomach virus, we've eaten nothing but things that will affect the stomach: red beans and rice, Reubens with sauerkraut, Brussels sprouts, greens, more beans. I'm like, what are you doing? There's no way. I've lost 30 pounds.
You look fantastic.
Still, we're gonna torment your stomach. Well, you've been bad. I'm gonna punish you.
So what do I want when she says, "What do you want from Mexican?" Burrito, big one. But I told her to put queso on it. That'll counteract it, right?
Oh my God.
Oh wow.
Well, now we just lost all those that are lactose sensitive. Good job, JD.
We still got
three listeners left.
We still got the gluten free, so we're all right.
Wheat's the shit, yo.
They're gone.
And now
if you're still listening to this podcast at this point,
now it's just 3 and Greg listens to the show.
it's all about Greg.
Hi, Greg.
Greg and Wes.
Caleb. We have Caleb.
That Caleb listens.
Wes, Bubba, my buddy Patrick.
Now look at there.
Who I talked to yesterday.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Listens.
Well, I guess
that was the best takeaway from his entire prognosis of my fate.
Right. Thank you, Patrick.
Oh, this is going to be terrible, but thank you, Patrick, for listening. Patrick will laugh right about now, and if he's like me, he'll get dizzy and fall over. So who knows? Just be a thing.
You two are not allowed to die. That's all I'm going to say. I can't do the show by myself.
You can't. It was boring and the tangent would be quick.
Yeah, it'd be me just talking. It'd be lame. On that note,
We'll do what they do in football games. You can have like South Park versions of us cut out that you can put around that table.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
that would be
Make
sad.
Drew's Canadian though.
I'm bringing it. I'm gonna train Sterling. I'm gonna start training her now. She'll come in.
All right,
She'll step in.
You can have.
I'm a
you can have
podcaster like my father before me.
Grace.
Oh, there we go.
Because Grace is all about the Mandalorian.
Cool. We'll have to bring him on the show.
I got an idea. I'll talk off the air about it, but
Pretty sure he just heard me and is now running out here. There he is.
Where is he?
Hi.
Put him in shot so we can hear him.
I am. My desk is now situated where you have to run a maze to get to my. You have to.
Hey, this is Grayson.
This is
What's up?
Grayson.
One of the twins.
Wait, they can't see him. They can just hear him. Just so talk. That's just Scotty and Drew.
Yeah.
But the podcast, they can hear you. Oh, you're gonna freeze now?
I don't know what to talk about.
Star Wars.
We're talking about
Oh.
Mandalorian. So you're digging the Mandalorian?
It's really good.
So what do you like about
do
it?
you like the Baby Yoda's name?
Yes.
So it's done its job. It's appealed to the younger generation, like all Star Wars.
Fair enough. I lose. Fair enough.
Hey, bring your kids in, and then you can win because kids.
My kids are going to be like, "Oh, Baby Yoda, she is so cute." That's all they say all the time.
She is adorable.
She, Baby Yoda, and then they talk about like little things, like Baby Yoda going to the store to buy milk. It's like the Baby Yoda that I have that was given to me by JD was stolen by the children and is now lives in a house with a bunch of LOL dolls.
What? What?
LOL?
Tiny little.
Why do you know?
Because he's a child. Children
Okay.
know things.
They're like a little bigger than him, but with giant heads and giant eyes.
That's correct.
Abaddon, the despoiler.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Again, something else our audience can't see.
Right? Yeah.
No,
They
painted.
know. They know.
So Grayson,
True.
what's been your favorite thing this
Yeah.
season?
Boba Fett.
Whoa.
Well, I gotta get-
Boba Fett.
I think that's important. Because who was your everybody in this thing was a Boba Fett fan, right? I'm assuming.
Oh yeah.
We're all-
I mean, I was a fan, but he wasn't like I was. I think we talked about it. I was always 100% Luke. Go, go, go. The whole time. Girl.
Yeah, I was too, but I mean, I loved Boba Fett. Like
Yeah.
I was like, Boba Fett's magical.
He was cool, but he wasn't like I wasn't as fixated on him as my friends were. I mean, he was cool.
Oh,
But
I
he was a
was
bad guy, so he could go die.
no, but I always put Fett over Vader, like in my echelon of toys. I
Yep.
was like, Fett looks cooler than Vader, especially that
Yep.
the Kenner's Vader figure is terrible because he's got that that whole lightsaber
Yeah,
arm
it's
comes.
just like
It's, so
it's like it's like a dog's red rocket.
right.
Yeah.
It's not
Well-
great.
Have a good one.
I didn't say anything bad.
Yeah, he lives with me. He knew what you were talking about.
Oh,
Well, he's
No, and
what?
plus he was
my bad.
he was being awkward. Thank God he showered today.
On that note,
Can that be the end of the episode?
that's what I'm trying to do.
Thank God he showered.
I've been
Click.
trying to end the episode like for 20 minutes now. I'm sorry, folks. This is a long one. And I
for
still
a
have,
short episode.
and I still haven't,
Irony.
and I haven't even recorded the mission stuff. So it's
Just make it really quick. Boba Fett's cool. The end.
Fennec doesn't miss.
no,
but 3
no,
times.
because they'll already heard it, and you guys haven't. But I'm already like, to me, the cold open is basically how to train your dragon. So I'm working that in.
Yeah, it's good.
So
It's good.
I got some things for it, so it'll work out. This is Scotty saying this is our contribution to the multiverse. Go out and make yours, and may the force be with you.
I knew you were going to say that.
This is the way.
Now, am I supposed to say this is the way?
It's the way. No, just say Ichuta and cut it.
It goes this. Oh, let me do my brow. Contribution to the multiverse. May the force be with you. I knew I was going to say that. This is the way. And then Drew ends with I have spoken.
Yeah.
Okay, we got it?
But wait, where does Ichuta comes in?
Ichuta Solo.
You know, he should have done Ichuta at the beginning of it, and he didn't say Solo. It's Ichuta. How rude.
I want a Wanga.
They wanna why go?
Wongo. That's right.
Good job.
I know some Huttese. I mean, I can get around Nalhutta, but
Yes, I bet you have. Okay. All right.
I can say going somewhere and let me in.
Until next time.
Thank you for listening to the Mobcast Network.